Good evening and welcome to the third instalment of SSI Freedom Sessions brought to you by New Beginnings Festival. My name is Shyamala and I am the festival ambassador, and I'm very excited for you to be joining us tonight because we have some incredible performances and art to show you. So before we get started tonight, it's really important that we would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land we are on. We are coming to you live from Bulinamin country, also known as Dulwich Hill. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge and stand in solidarity that sovereignty on this land was never ceded. Tonight we are delving into what it means to be African Australian and an African living and working in Australia. So we have an incredible collection of artists here today. And before we get into going into explaining a little bit about these amazing humans that are right here, the reason we are running these sessions is because obviously of COVID, artists are doing it really tough at the moment. So with the blessing and funding luckily coming through the New Beginnings Festival through SSI, we are able to put these sessions together because we haven't been able to have the festival unfortunately this year, but onwards and upwards. This is the third session, so we have had, last week we had an incredible First Nations artist, Dobby. We had Collusion, which was a very multicultural combination of artists. And today we're focusing on Lucky, Hawanatu, Shimmer, all sitting right here. So before we jump to them, I want you to just know that we have some incredible artworks that we will be showing on your screen right now. But we're actually going to show you them a bit later because I want to talk about them in a little bit more detail. So we're going to move on to, I think you probably want to know who these incredible humans are sitting right here. So let's start this way and go around. So to my left, I have Hawanatu Bangura. Welcome. And Hawanatu is the founder of Mahawa Creative. She has a double degree in social work and social science and has been working in the Australian community sector providing support to disadvantaged individuals and groups for over 7 years. I love it when social work and arts collide. She's an award-winning filmmaker who's been writing, directing and producing films for over 10 years. She has been, I think you went to the Montreal Film Festival, didn't you?
Yep.
You won?
Yep.
Amazing.
Montreal Black Film Festival.
Incredible. And did I see that you met Spike Lee?
I did.
Oh my gosh.
I know, I'm still having goosebumps about it. I could not believe it.
That's awesome. And I just want to talk a little bit about your work. So Mahawa Creative, can you tell us a bit more about that?
So Mahawa Creative is my social enterprise that I started this year. It combines filmmaking, so we make films that are compelling and also promote social impacts for organizations big and small. And another aspect of it is the workshops that we run. So we do self-care, creativity and storytelling workshops for women.
Amazing.
In a safe space.
Beautiful. So we'll hear a little bit more about Hawanatu later on. And I want to move over to Lucky. We are lucky to have you here, Mr. Lucky.
I'm so lucky to be here.
Lucky is a Sydney-based dancer and choreographer who's originally from Ghana, West Africa. What up, West Africa? Hold on. So we've got Sierra Leone is your background.
Yes.
We've got Nigeria and Italy, but we'll talk about that as well later. And Ghana, that's pretty cool. Welcome to the inner west. Just let the planes go. Roll your shoulders back home, roll them forward, shake it out, because you're going to want to dance today. Everyone's going to want to dance. All right, so Lucky. He's an amazing artist who I've known of for many years, and I think what impresses me most about your work is how you integrate contemporary dance and storytelling as well as your experiences as being an African man. So tell us a little bit about your practice as an artist.
So I'm a dancer choreographer. I've been dancing for about 25 years.
Wow.
Actually, just last week I realized, oh, I've been dancing for 25 years, and I'm actually getting old.
No.
Yeah, okay, we're not gonna go.
We'll talk
into
about
that.
that.
Yeah. All right. So I say the work that I do is finding my own voice within my tradition, right? Because my traditional training, my practice, which is my introduction to dance, was in West African traditional dance. I practiced that for 10 years. And then I did a kind of improvisation training also through abstract drawing for 3 years.
Hold on, through abstract drawing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I haven't seen that anywhere before, but my teacher is a bit crazy. So
This was part of your dance practice?
yeah, it's part of my dance practice. I think that's where my kind of creativity start. Because when you practice in Africa, the dances are dances that have been passed on for generations. So they're very repertoire based, and you learn them by understanding the rhythms, by learning all the dances and all the movements. So it's very different from what I did. So when I met my teacher, I was like, okay, you have done your part. Where's your voice now? We need to find what animal are you, what human are you? What can you do with all that you've learned? And I've also been very very curious person. So even throughout my training, I always ask, why do we have to roll on the floor? Why can't we jump? Why is it on the left? Why can't it be on the right side? So I also start creating my own kind of experimental work. And then since being in Australia, it's actually been very interesting journey in the last 10 years.
And how long have you been in Australia for? What was your reason for coming to Australia?
Say it again.
How long have you been in Australia? When did you migrate to Australia?
2011.
2011.
Yeah, I've been 2011. I've been my choreographic career actually started from Australia, because from Australia I started to make very conceptual work. I started to understand more about who I am, my practice, because all of a sudden I'm very different. I have a story to tell.
Yep.
But also I don't see myself, because I'm in a space where a lot of the work that is being done is about body and space. I've grown up with a lot of social, political issues, environmental issues. I've grown up with a whole lot that I wanted to talk about in my practice. So I guess for about 3 years, my career was a bit, because I wanted to be like everyone else. And then I had the opportunity to work in India, and that was the spark for me.
Amazing.
So in India, so I say most of my work that I do is around social, political issues. I always find myself in that space. I don't know why, but I guess I can separate my upbringing from my practice. So.
And it must be so amazing to be able to express that without having to speak as well.
Yeah,
Do you find that healing in a way?
Yeah, I mean, in the last 10 years, I've learned so much about myself, my culture, my people through dance than I ever had a chance to learn in school or throughout my life, because every work I do take me through a very interesting journey of going to learn a specific prayers, trying to understand who I am as a black man in Australia, and also how I've been conditioned to think about myself, right? So always unpacking things. So I think these 10 years have been very, very interesting, interesting times in my life, actually.
I just want to keep hearing you speak right now. That's sounds like there's so many layers to it. So, all right, I feel like we could talk about it for us, but let's move on to this beautiful creature in front of me. She's not just beautiful, she's one of the most highly trained dancers I've ever had the pleasure of working with and knowing as a human. This is Shimmer.
Hi guys.
Also known as Chi-Chi, aka Shimmy Pops. Sorry, I had to. So let me tell you a little bit about Shimmer. She's a professional dance artist, educator and Pilates instructor with over a decade of experience and training, performing and teaching in Australia and abroad. She is Alvin Ailey trained. Shimmer spent time in New York. Where else have you been?
A lot of places. Brazil,
Italy.
Yeah, everywhere. Africa.
Wow. And Shimmer's highly trained in the Horton technique, which I can personally vouch for because during COVID, my dance group Bindi Bosses actually came to Shimmer and asked her to train us remotely through a 6-week Horton technique training program. So shout out for all those dancers out there. This is something that no matter what style you do, you can definitely get something from. And tell us about your dance journey, Shimmer.
It started when I was 3.
Wow.
I think my dad, who is from Nigeria, a very proud Nigerian man, Igbo man, he would just play music videos on the TV. That was his favorite thing to do on a Saturday when he was cooking something traditional.
What music videos?
Like Fela Kuti and Miriam Makeba, all the good ones.
That's
and
in you,
I would just
right from even though, and you were born here.
I was born in Australia, grew up on the Central Coast.
Wow. Are
Um,
there many people who look like you? No.
I think my brother and I were the only little brown kids at primary school for a little while. And my poor mother, who's a beautiful Italian woman, she kind of had to explain that we weren't adopted to a lot of people. So, yeah, it was a very interesting experience growing up there. But I'm pretty privileged to have the experience of growing up in Australia, being born in Australia, but also having the perspective of an African and a European all in one. So
The whole
that's
package.
quite a unique thing to have. Yeah.
And I think it's been really beautiful as a friend and as a dancer to watch your journey in art as well, because you were very much, I think, very much in the commercial space, and you still are.
Yeah.
But I feel like progressively I've been seeing you infuse your traditional roots into your contemporary.
Mhm.
Tell us a bit more about that.
I think it was a little bit tricky for me to find my feet as a dancer in Australia. And I grew up learning classical ballet and jazz and contemporary, but I never felt like I fit in here, and I had a
I hear
different
ya.
body.
I hear ya. Shout out to all the brown
Really,
kids in the Shire
Yeah,
who
like,
did
know,
jazz and tap and ballet.
yeah, I looked different. My hair was different. I didn't fit the leotards and the tights like everyone else.
I'm sure you couldn't have found tights in your colour either.
no tights in my color, no
Yep.
ballet shoes in my color. So I always felt different training here and dancing here, and the way I wanted to move was different. And then I think I watched I watched Revelations for the first time when I was really young, and I was like, I need to go there. I'm going to do that. So I told my mum when I was, I think, about 15, I'm going to go to Alvin Ailey. I'm going to go to Alvin Ailey. So, and I went there when I was about 20, but it was always just in my head, and I knew that people were like me and they moved that way,
And you did it.
and I did it.
And what did you
So-
get from that experience? And what was that like then coming back to Australia?
I think there, even though I wasn't African American, I still felt like I fit in there. You know, I found my feet there as an artist, and just, you know, growing up and living by yourself in another country without your family, without knowing anybody, which you guys would know. And then I came back to Australia and kind of had the same feeling as just before I left, because I was like, oh, no one dances like this here, and there's not much modern dance or contemporary dance, and I didn't know where to fit. So I kind of went into that commercial side and had to stay there for a little while, because I thought that was the only way that I could be connected to dance in Sydney, in Australia.
We're all furiously nodding
Yeah.
right now. Going, mhm.
So-
Everyone wants us to be what we look like, huh?
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
and then progressively I kind of have been able to let that go and just be myself again, and show and educate people, use my voice and use my movement to,
And your training.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's me.
Well, I'd like to ask everybody, so whoever jumps in, there's no buzzers, so just... how has COVID affected you as an artist, and how have you adapted? I know all of us have been heavily affected, but how have you adapted to what's happened? We're all looking at you, Lucky, because we know Lucky's been producing incredible work during COVID, there's been a photographic series. There have been online classes. I think we were even involved in the same project with the arts unit, doing educational videos for kids. Tell us.
COVID has been very interesting. I feel like it stopped me, but then what it did was to enable me to find the different ways to keep making art and keep working, because when you're from a place like where I'm from, which is Jamestown, you got to make it work, because family back home is, when they call you got to send money. So no, I need to chip that in. So
but that's actually a really valid point. Like, for a lot of the artists who are not working at the moment, I consider myself privileged. Like you, Shim, I was born here, but for artists that are migrants, they got people back home which they have to send money home to. And us not working as artists, there's the artistic side of it, but then there's that financial side, and it's not always just about us, is it? Yeah.
So we got to make it work. But it's been very interesting, because I think just before COVID hit, I've always been very online. I've been online, so it wasn't easy. It wasn't that hard kind of transition online, because I do a lot of Facebook and Instagram. So, but I have a lot of students also that was quite, like, I think we're all learning. Everyone was interested in to find a way that they could survive. So we, the teachers, were trying to find ways to keep going, and then the students were also finding ways to connect. So there was that. Okay, you're gonna teach some online classes. Oh, I don't know. Okay, gotta give it a try. So actually, I throughout COVID, I was doing 2 classes, which was by accident, because I did one try. I said, well, let me do one Tuesday try, and then I'll start on Thursday. And then there was too many people. And then one day Thursday also there was too many people.
Such a good problem to have.
I know. So I kept going, and then I was like, oh, if we can do online, then we can connect other people as well. So I also had the privilege to invite my friends from Africa, because I was thinking business-wise also, people will be very excited and will appreciate that, they could have a teacher from Africa. So it was quite interesting, because each time I organize a teacher from Africa, I get so stressed. I got to manage the timing and but it worked, and people
I think it's
really
just general people of color time. Yeah.
Yeah, but
you mean the time difference as well?
Yeah, the time difference, but also network, and also I've got to make sure I explain to them that, look, you got to be slow. Africa will dance too fast. Like, no joke. Like, So I tell them, you gotta take your time. They just want to have fun.
Yeah. And I think that's very true of a lot of traditional dance forms across the globe. You learn through osmosis. You don't necessarily learn by someone telling you, I'm hitting this on this count and I'm doing this and this. You're like, okay, I just got to shut up and go with the flow here right now.
Yeah, you got to watch and do it. So I will learn was so fast. So, what was interesting was that I was able to support my friends because of COVID. No one was performing. We get government subsidized. They don't get that. So each time they do a class, it's great for them because I send them all the money. But also for them to be able to connect with the rest of the world. I also invited Chima and also a few friends also. So I feel like COVID was like a time for me to reconnect with all my friends, both back home and both few friends that have been I love their work, and I think, we'll be interested to work with them that I never had a chance. I feel like we all had time, so it was a good time to come together to do stuff. So, and I'm still going. So
we know, Lucky, you don't stop. we know.
I'm still going online, so it's been really great. Yeah. But also give me a lot of time to be able to spend a lot of time on artistic ideas, and a lot of great things have emerged out of it. Yeah.
Hawanatu, I want to ask you a specific question because we're about to play one of your films very soon. And I wanted to ask you a question about narrative. What does it mean to you to control your own narrative?
Well, yeah, that's a good question, and that's the reason why I'm actually making films because from growing up, I didn't grow up in Australia, but since I came here in 2002, what I was seeing on TV, especially the films or information about Africa and its people, were just one-sided, and it's usually stereotypical, and in a lot of ways, it's quite negative about poverty and starvation,
Needing help.
needing help, and all these things. And I was just thinking, that's not really how I grew up. That doesn't really reflect the reality of what it was for me as growing up in Sierra Leone as a child.
Tell us what it was for you.
What it was for me, well, Sierra Leone, as you may know, there was a war that happened there. But despite the war, that was 10 years of the war. But what happened for me was amazing things as well. The war was happening, and then amazing things happened. Like in my childhood, I remember going to, my dad's village, and that's like one of the vivid memories because it's, say, for example, having fresh organic food and hearing the raindrops on the roof. It's just like all those little things were just so memorable.
Such a filmmaker. I'm just gonna close. Hold on. All right, keep going.
Yeah, but
I've got a mental movie now.
Yeah, I did a film that that goes back to Sierra Leone, but it's an animation because I actually couldn't go and film it there, so that was Money Tree.
Was it Money Tree? Yeah.
Yes, yeah. But just in terms of the narrative, I was just like, look, there was no authentic representation of us out there, and I really needed to, create our own stories, really. Like from what I was hearing from people that I could relate to, especially Afro-Australians, I thought it's much better for us to own our own story and to tell it the way we want to. So that's why I started making films.
And on that note, that is a beautiful segue to Afro Sisters. So Afro Sisters is, let me get this right. So it's like a drama. We were calling it a drama comedy digital series. Yeah. Has it officially launched yet, or is it sort of in pilot stage and you're trying to, where is it at?
Yeah, so we're slowly working on it. As we all know, there's always the financial part of things. So we did the proof of concept teasers, which are small clips that we put on YouTube. So those are just, to test the idea out, to see that, visually it all works, the story's good, the characters are great, so that people can fund us and make the big thing, which is the web series that we want to do.
All right. Well, anyone who's watching who wants to fund this, get in touch, because... All right, and we're going to play one of those clips now. It's entitled New Name Who Dis, and this is Afro Sisters. Let's go.
Maria Makeba. No. Queen. Nzinga. No. Nefertiti. Mariam Makeba. Nah. What? Nefertiti. Nefertiti. No. Queen. Nzingi. No. No. Nah. Wangari Matai. Nah. Kabusha. Rebirth. And reborn. From the ground up. Kabusha.
Mary! Mary!
Mom? I told you. My name is Kabusha now.
Kabusha! Your Majesty, the garbage needs taking out.
love that.
Thank you.
It's actually, and even though it was about an African woman, I felt it reminded of me growing up as well. When you're a person of color and you're trying to like reconnect, you almost go over the top with trying to go back to the root. So what does that film mean for you?
Well, for me, especially with that teaser clip, it's all about exploring your identity, and you know, this person is going back to her roots, and you know, all the beautiful names that she was calling. You know, these are really women of African descent who have been, you know, very much inspirational to us. So it was just like really refreshing to see that and her embodying those different women as well. I just really love
her
it.
mum at the end.
Yeah, that's how it is. Like, you gotta go back and do the work, you know? Like, you can celebrate all you want, but we gotta go and do the work. That means, you know, do the house chores. Yeah, it's the reality, really.
And when I watch a clip like that, and I know a little bit about Afro Sisters, it's a collective, all African women, but from diverse backgrounds. What does that mean for you to be able to work with other African women, and how has that collaboration been for you?
Yeah, so Afro Sisters, the collective, is made up of 6 African women who are living in Australia. And for me, this is the first time I get to collaborate with my fellow African women. So it has been a really inspiring journey, because these are women, some of them were in my previous film as well, I Am Black and Beautiful, and they're creatives and they're doing amazing things. And now we're like, we want to, you know, like tell our own narratives. That's where it started off from, but we don't just want to tell whatever is shown there. We want to do something refreshing, and that's a true reflection of who we are. So we've been working on this, and we can serve, like, even when we're in the room, like, the vibe is just amazing, because we can tell, you know, stories just like that. And we're like, yeah, that would be really good, you know, to add to the story that we're creating. But it's all real as well.
Yeah.
And speaking about, you know, our Afro hair, which, you know, I've got my head wrap on, but
Which is part of the Afro Sisters logo as well.
Yes, yeah, that's one of the key things of it. It has to do with hair.
In fact, let's talk about hair.
Let's talk about hair.
Let's talk about African beautiful hair. I don't even want to ask a particular question because there's just so much around identity and hair. Let's start with Shimmer.
The hair.
The hair.
It's a process. Afro hair is a process. That's the only way that I can explain it. And I think it's kind of funny, because I was saying to my mum very recently, I was like, do you remember that school principal that told me that my mum learnt, an Italian woman, learnt how to braid Afro hair. So she would do my hair when I was young. And I had a principal at primary school, and she told me that I had to have proper plaits for school.
Wow.
And I was like, what does she mean by proper plaits for school? Like maybe Dutch braids or something. I didn't know what she meant. And that's always stuck with me, particularly now, like when we're kind of talking a little bit more about hair and the hair types and things like that. But that always just stuck with me. But I was so proud of my mum, who kind of asked the questions and asked my aunties or did some research, and you know, and she learned that by herself, and she would do my hair every week. We'd have hair day and we watch movies and detangle, and it was a process.
It's a social thing as well.
It's a social thing and a process. I know Hawanatu agrees. She's like, girl.
Yes.
She's like, I know.
What is it for you, Hawanatu?
For me, the hair thing, and I think that's what, going back to Afro Sisters, this is really, you know, what brings us Black women together. Because when you see someone, you know, like, you know, maybe you like their style or whatever it is that they're using on their hair, and you're just curious, like, even if it's just a stranger on the streets, that's a Black person, like, you just go up to them and just speak about hair. Like, literally, you can spend hours just talking
Doesn't matter
about
where
it.
in Africa they're from.
Where, yeah. So really, for me, like the hair thing, I've gone natural, which means that I'm not putting any chemicals in my hair.
Yes.
So just like...
You have to get to that point, right? Because those chemicals are pressure.
Yeah.
The reason you're using them is because you're trying to fit into a certain mold.
Exactly. It's like fitting into the Western beauty ideal, which is what, that chase to really just have long hair and something that you can flick around. Well, my hair is not really like that, but so I just
She
gotta
whipped
come
her
back
hair
to
back and forth. Yeah. And I don't want to leave you out, Lucky. Tell us, black man hair. What does it mean to you? What's it?
My experience is different from a black woman. A black woman experience. I guess mine is more. My problem is more with the African. With the African people themselves, because to have a hair like this in Africa, it makes you a bad boy. It makes you like you. It means you're a rascal. Like you do all the bad things. So I had a bit of a problem with my mom doing my hair like this, which was different. About being in Australia, it's also a very different thing. It is my strength. I like to. I'm a proud black man, and this is my identity. And I sometimes I get a haircut and I put things that mean something to me, like I put Africa, behind my back. So I leave this place just for a little bit of exploration. So this one is there. And
Available for branding? Like, is it for sale?
Yes.
Any brands that want to sponsor Lucky, we can shave your logo into the back of his head.
But apparently. A good brand, cause
good brand.
Yeah, good brand.
Yeah,
it has to be a good brand because money's not everything. Yeah, I put Africa.
Placement.
Sometimes I put like Jinyami. Jinyami is a symbol which is except God. I put a lot of different things. Sankofa, which means going back to the root.
Ooh.
Yeah. So my hair have different things. I mean, if I'm in Africa, like someone can just say, wait, like nice boy, just go get a nice haircut. Like this is not cool. We don't like this in the church. This is like, yeah. So I'm a proud black man. I love my hair.
Well, we in the shack love your hair too. So just embrace it. Coming back to you, Hawanatu, because we're about to play one more film before we move on to some live movement. Are you ready to stand up? Can I just say, you've got like 4 people here who are all like ready to stand up and move right now. But I wanted to talk to you about intersectionality in the arts, because one thing I love about your work is it's not just about African women, it's about you've done a film about cultural diversity, but featuring people with disabilities. Mental health is such a big part of your work as well. So what does intersectionality in the arts mean to you? And
Okay. Yeah, so for me, I really like to tell diverse stories, and I know I've been talking about, the black women, and even within that, like I've created films about different aspects. So one of the films I did, Inner Demons, is about someone with an eating disorder that's from Sierra Leone. And, I Am Black and Beautiful is just diverse range of other different black women who are talking about their identity. So, and the other things that you mentioned as well to do with disability, the elderly people reflecting on their childhood memories as well. So for me, it's just the intersectionality there is, looking at these people, and I capture one aspect of what they're going through, but that can also resonate with, different audiences as well. It's like my stories, maybe you can look at it from different life stages. You can look at it from childhood with the animations that I do. It reflects something there, like a moral lesson about money or something to do with monetary. But then you can go on to, what is it like as a teenager, or,
some universal themes.
Yes,
that kind of cross all those intersections.
Yeah, and even in my social work practice as well, like just first half of this year I was working with children in developmental stages from 0 to 6, and now I'm working with elderly people in nursing homes. So it's like I just love the diversity and really just understanding the different life stages and going back to, what these people would have been like, as children. It's just so intriguing. I mean, that's just...
And that's interesting. So you're looking at the kids and then looking at the older people that you're working with and then trying to imagine one be the other.
Yeah, just appreciating what
Life.
that could have been like. Because with dementia, like we mainly focus on mental health and dementia, and most of these people go back to their early childhood memories, and that's what they rely on. And then when you look at children, you're like, oh, what are we enriching them with right now? So that memory can stay with them, until their end stages. So it's just, yeah, I just love what I do, and I keep continue to grow through learning from all these different people in my social work practice, and then bring it back to my film and make something amazing.
And bringing amazing people together in that process. So I think
Yes.
very lucky to have you here.
Thank you.
And speaking of, I'd like to just do a little bit of an intro to the next film of yours that we are about to show, which is called Imprints, and it is about Babsi,
Yes.
an Ethiopian dancer who was taught to dance by her mother, and she now wants to pass down the dance tradition to her children. And we're going to roll it now.
Dance is in my DNA. Dance is an unstoppable force that flows through my veins. An energy that is infected in my soul. When I dance, I'm possessed by the rhythm of my body. My heart races to the pace of my breath. As a child, my mom taught me to dance. Although she's not here, her memory still lives on. When I dance, I feel her presence in the room. And I'm caught in that moment where only the sweet sensation of the present matters. My mom's legacy will be kept alive through my dance. I will pass on the dance tradition to my children. Dance is my imprint.
Such a beautiful film.
Thank you.
And Babsi, tell us a bit more about we should be watching at home.
Yeah, I just want to say shout out to Babsi.
Babsy, you're famous now.
She's a good friend of mine. And I made this film, I really can't remember how long ago. It would have been 7 years or so ago. Stop keeping counts. But yeah, like she is a occupational therapist and she works in the hospital. But on the side, she does dancing, and that has been her passion
Wow.
since she was a child. And knowing that, you know, her mother was a dancer and she actually teach her all the skills that she's able to teach her kids. And when you see her kids, that was the first time that they were doing Ethiopian dancing and wearing the costume. So ever since then, I've seen photos of them in their, you know, traditional wear and stuff. And all
So that film was the first time
yeah,
you captured that.
yeah.
Oh, that's like a documentary then. Yeah.
No, there's so much behind that.
So
that I
much.
just, love to explore, really.
Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing that with us and for sharing your story and your heart. And it's just amazing.
Yeah, thank you for showing that.
Awesome. Well, you might notice that we've lost 2 people. Don't worry, they are dancers. They are just actually warming up for you right now. But before we actually get to the dance, I would like to tell you a little bit about the art that we are featuring today. So we should be getting that up very shortly. It's happening. This is the Reawakening Visions exhibition, which is co-presented by the Peacock Gallery in Auburn and SSI's Arts and Culture program. It's running from the 8th of August until Saturday the 5th of September, and it's about being able to experience and participate in arts and cultural life, which is essential to the well-being of every human. But for refugees and new migrants to Australia, these interactions have a doubly important role. By performing a platform of connection and self-expression, arts and culture initiatives can empower individuals and bring communities together and help build stronger societies. So Creative Pathways is another pillar of the SSI Arts and Culture program, which provides artists individual development pathway opportunities. So this includes showcase, networking, business planning, and project support for newly arrived artists and artisans who are looking to take their practice to the next level. This partnership with the Peacock Gallery in Auburn grows stronger every year and allows them to provide critical and coordinated support to local newcomer artists. So all the details should be on your screen right now if you want to contact Laura at SSI to find out a little bit more about that exhibition. All right, we're back. Every time you come back to us, there's a change. We're just trying to keep you all on your toes. So this comes to a very exciting part of the evening. We're going to be witnessing a little bit of live dance. So Hawanatu and I will not be dancing for you right now. We have Lucky, who is about to perform a piece for us, and I'll just tell you a little bit about this piece. It's an experimental work that Lucky has actually created while he's been in isolation during COVID. I don't want to tell you too much about it because I think we should talk after you've seen this incredible piece. Should we give him a bit of space?
Sure.
All right, Lucky, the stage is yours. Wow. Give it up for Lucky in the shack, heating things up. That was incredible. No, don't go away. Come back. I want to talk to you. This is always the fun part when you've just done a performance like that. Someone interviewing you straight after and you have to talk. I just wanted to tell everybody at home, Lucky is dancing in a very tiny space right now. It is like 2 by 2 meters max. So what was your inspiration for that piece? Obviously, confined space is one of them.
Yeah, I created this work in isolation. It's a part of a long research that I've been doing on dance and architecture. So as part of it, I was working with dissecting the body. So separating the body and piecing them together. So the white tape it's kind of helped to like trace the movement. Yeah.
And I remember when you first put that up, everyone was going crazy on social media going, what is this? This is so cool. I think it's such a great example of how you've adapted and you've actually thrived.
Yeah, thanks to isolation.
Yeah. Incredible. Well, I'll let you go and just take a moment, because the next thing that we are going to get to see is, as I've already said, it's only 2 by 2 meters, but we're going to see if we can fit another beautiful human in this space. So Lucky and Shima are actually going to do a duet together. Let's see what they can do. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Give it up for Lucky and Shimmer. All right. You want some behind the scenes? We have been trying to figure out if that was even going to work in this tiny space. There were conversations about Shimmer's very long limbs, and that just shows you the skill of these artists. For you to be able to use this tiny space to put together a work that we could feel. Amazing. I'm not going to make you talk. But I might make you dance some more. Is that okay? Because I've been talking with Hawanatu and we had a bit of an idea. Are you up for something? Are you up for this? Yes. Okay, he's right. So our idea is, I know that both of you are incredible. That was obviously a choreographed piece. How do you feel about improvising? All right, so this is what we're going to do. I'm not going to give you the concepts. I've asked Hawanatu, I don't even know what they are. I've asked Hawanatu to actually come up with some concepts, and we want to see if you can interpret it on the spot. So this is live. Hawanatu, can I get you to come back in here? Hello.
Hello.
Was that inspiring? Are you feeling warm?
All
of us
taking me back to the motherland.
And other places as well. It's just like that contemporary fusion. All right. Cool. So did watching that give you maybe a conceptual idea as a the wonderful filmmaker extraordinaire that you could feed to these artists and we can see them literally bring it to life on the spot?
Yes. Do.
All right. I can't do a drum roll.
Nothing epic, but yeah.
What's a concept?
So the concept will be identity.
Oof. You went deep. You went so deep.
Always deep.
I said to Hawanatu, I'm like, it can be like flowers. It can be like triangles. And she's like, identity. All right.
Very philosophical.
That's what we get when we get a filmmaker to get the concepts. All right. Lucky or Shimmer, who wants to take it? Shimmer. Yes. Wow. Okay, let's give the woman some space. Identity presented to you live by Shimmer. Woo! To ask permission to walk back. What have you just done to this space? All right, I know the rest of you at home can't see everyone's face, but this is basically everyone in the shack right now. We forgot timing, everything. You just made that up on the spot. Yeah. Get out of here. All right, get out of here.
Amazing.
The dance gauntlet has been laid. Are you ready? Drum roll. Hawanatu. What's the next concept?
Courage.
Oh, I love that. Courage. Yeah. Let's do it. Courage. These are good. Courageous indeed. Courageous in so many ways. Courageous in your dance choices just then. Every time you do that, I'm like, oh, okay, you did it. Okay. I was so invested in that, Lucky. Yeah. Well, while we've got the vibe going, I want to lay down an extra challenge. So I want to see Lucky and Shimmer improvise on one more concept, but together at the same time. Just to see if you can.
This is amazing.
We
have another 4 hours to go.
All right, write to us in the comments. Everyone who's watching, do you want us to go for another 4 hours? Because I don't think the dance languages in these bodies are endless. All right, but final concept. Hawanatu, what is it?
Yeah, so this will be nature. Yes.
Yes. Yes. All right. Nature presented by Lucky and Shimmer. Take it away. Wow. I love not knowing when it's going to end. I saw rivers and wind and birds and symbiosis as well. So much can be expressed without any words through art, and that is why we're holding these sessions. I felt like we could have just let you two keep dancing.
Could have gone for another 2 hours.
Another 2 hours, I could see that. And is that what your rehearsals are like? Do you just put on a track and play?
Yeah, so most of the time we're like, let's just see what happens. We put a few
Magic.
things together and then
It's actually, there's a lot of amazing discovery, right? Because I'm always saying, Chima, I don't know you. What is this? This is amazing. This is amazing. And then I just saw a whole lot of, so yeah, it's good. It's good. This is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah, this is good.
Thanks for the platform. Yeah.
Yeah. And
You watching?
and more of this, more of this.
More of this.
Speaking of platforms, I have one final question. I'm going to let you two just have a moment to capture your breath, although I feel like you don't need to. I feel like I can feel your energy. They're like, all right, we're warm now. Is the show going to start now? Yeah.
this is the warm-up.
So the final question I wanted to ask all of you is, what do you think your industries can do to help elevate and centre Black voices? You can take a moment because it's a big question. Between you have decades of experience in your industries. You know what it's like to have to work in Australia as specifically someone of African heritage and appearance. Think about the stereotypes you've had to break through, the stories you actually want to tell and the way you want to express yourselves as artists. And I'll let you decide who's ready to tackle that first.
I'll go. Yes. I think one thing that comes to mind for me is trust, because I feel like, especially in the film industry, even though someone like me would have made short films and I'm enjoying what I'm doing, but to get to the next stage, it's quite a big barrier or wall that's there. And that's because I feel like the people that have the experience that are established have not, like they don't really trust us to be able to do the work. They're like, oh, you're young, maybe you're a woman, you're this. There's so many barriers that they create for us.
And let's be really clear, what does that look like at that layer? Is that diverse at that layer?
No.
That's part of the problem, right?
That's
So
a big problem.
inclusion doesn't just mean having people from the bottom, being hired. It means inclusion and diversity at all levels. So I think thank you for saying that, because that's hard. You have to prove yourself to people that aren't you constantly.
Yeah, and that's constant. It's like a constant battle to climb up and go up there. And that's why for me now, I really just want to do my own thing, because sometimes you can be molded into something else that you don't really start off with. And I feel like, that's not really what I want to do. I'm a social worker, I'm a filmmaker, that's my push. But they really just need to be open. And I know that in terms of, the presentations and things that we see now, I see more Black people as models or, on billboards and TV and all these things, which is amazing, like you're saying. But behind the scene, what's going on there? Are we sitting on the same table as everyone else and talking about this? Who get to make the choice of, what we get to see? So
is it inclusion or is it performative cultural diversity? And that's something that's really being discussed a lot at the moment. So that is why we need platforms like this, because we can't have these conversations in mainstream areas. So thank you. Big ups, SSI, New Beginnings, Freedom Sessions. That's why you're all tuning in, right? You're tuning in to hear the realness. So now we're going to get the realness from us. I just got to move.
For me, it's education. I know that I've been given a gift to teach people, to educate people, and that's my platform, and I'm able to do that through dance. And there's all the talk of diversity, and I've seen, I've been one of those models on one of the few fitness models or whatever, but it's not temporary. It's education from generation to generation. We are just at the beginning. So,
and what does that education look like? How can people educate themselves who don't have your lived experience? What's the best way for them to educate themselves?
They need to be open. They need to read.
They need to engage with your art forms.
Yeah, they do. They need to talk to people of color. They need to expand, you know, everything is online. Everything. You can find anything. It's a choice to want to be educated as well.
So basically your answer is Google?
Basically, yeah. Let's
Google, get a clue, and then
watch some movies,
engage.
learn another language. I don't know.
Yes.
Just it's out there. It doesn't matter where you are. You have access. Everything is instant. So educate yourself and be open to being educated by other people.
Yes, that's the quote. That's the quote right there. Educate yourself and be open to be educated by other people, which basically means stay humble, right? Like, don't assume that because you have some understanding of an experience or maybe a similar experience that it's the same. There's always something else to get out of it. Thank you. That was such a great answer. Are you ready for this, Lucky? Yeah, he's thinking.
This is a very serious topic, right? And I feel like every time we talk about this thing, it's not like, oh, you know, another black man, another black woman, you know, making noise. It's very important that people have a very open mind. And I say that because, you know, my experience in the last 9 years making work in Australia has been very interesting. And because what I realized in the first 4 years or 5 years of my career is that people don't listen to you. You know, they always tell you what to do. And it's because of, you know, what they know or, you know, how they think about you or their limitation. And I think there's also a thing about, you know, anything from culture, you know, there's no innovation or it can go beyond, you know, what people see us. And some of us, you know, we're trying to tell very experimental stuff, but very deeply rooted in tradition. And I feel like it's important for people to listen, right? Because, I mean, I meet a lot of directors and, you know, why do we always have to try to prove ourselves, you know? Like, for me, I always feel like I'm trying to prove myself, you know, where I don't see that, like, my other colleagues don't do this, you know, they don't have the same problem. Like, everywhere I go, everywhere I travel to, I go to place to teach a workshop, you know? I'm being told what to do, right? I have right to tell the story I want to tell with my tradition. Whether I want to teach something which is deeply rooted in tradition or very abstract or very avant-garde, whatever it is, right? But, you know, people, oh, no, you know, I thought, you know, this is not African dance. But you know, you don't have you're wearing your T-shirt.
And these are
You're not screaming.
These are people who aren't African telling you that it's not African dance.
Yeah. So often we feel very powerless, right? Because when someone always tell you what to do, I mean that's why I did a work on exotification of the male foreign body. It taught me really a lot. But I think in all of this, what we need to finish is that I tell you a very simple story. I was in Portugal in a big conference, and then after the conference they have thrown up a very big party, but like we have disabled people in this place, right? But in the party there's no disabled access, so everyone rebel against it. So sometimes like this that's what I feel like the art is not. It's like, okay, well, yeah, you know, let's bring diverse people, let's bring people of color, but you put application down and, you know, like all the people, they don't even understand what you're talking about. You know what I mean? So how do you give me a chance, right, to go beyond, you know, to learn? Also, how do you give me the opportunity to be able to go beyond what you see me as, right? So I feel like, and why do we have to prove ourselves? Every time we talk about this, it's like, oh yeah. You know what I mean? And that's what I see. There's a lot of oh yeah like that. I feel like now people are listening a little bit, so maybe, I don't know, hopefully things change. But yeah, I'm done.
Thank you. And I think people are hearing it. I think time will tell if they're listening, because they're two different things, right? I think there's a lot of talk about it at the moment, and I've chatted with colleagues. I can't speak for film, but I feel like dance is one of the last places where we need an incredible amount of change in terms of cultural diversity and the way they engage with culturally diverse people. You know, we have a right. Look at how extraordinary all these artists are. They should be free. They should be free to express their multifaceted identities however they choose. So I think we can wrap on that.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Good wrap.
Yeah. Thank you, Lucky.
You're welcome.
He's gone back to that. I felt that energy shift too. He's back now. Thank you, Shimmer.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Hawanatu.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, absolute pleasure. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in from home. I hope that you have enjoyed these incredible discussions. I hope you've enjoyed being entertained, being educated, and immersing yourself in some incredible art. Big shout out to SSI. This is New Beginnings Festival, the online version, which is the Freedom Sessions. Thank you to Hafa for curating. Thank you to Wordplay Studios for making this possible. My words coming to you. Thank you to Buzz Speaker Hire. And thank you again to you at home. We need you. Tune in again. We'll be back in another couple of weeks with Armenian jazz. Yes. Wow. Until then, stay safe, stay warm, and educate yourselves and listen and immerse yourself. Go Google some stuff, right? Yeah. Thank you.